One of the biggest habits that I've had for most of my life is, well, biting my nails, which is a common habit for men, according to a few studies I've read. And it's not really an easy habit to break, especially if you've been doing it since you've been a child. And the reason why I started doing it as a child was I was a very nervous kid, always nervous about things. So I fidgeted with my hands, which I believe led to me starting to bite my nails. And I tried a lot of things. I tried that weird chemical that you could paint on your nails, but didn't really help too much. I've tried even covering my fingers a bit, and it helped to some extent, but then I'd always come back to it, especially when I'd have a hard moment of my life and it'd make me, again, nervous. Today, I still sort of have the habit, but I found something that finally addresses it, and that's basically just having multiple either toenail or nail clippers. And it's helped, I'd say, for a good part of it, but I'm still fighting it because it's a hard habit to kind of break when you've been doing it for so long. But I'm still persisting. I'm not giving up on it. I still got time to keep going forward, and at least I've stopped, I'd say, about 90% of the time biting my nails because of the carrying around a nail clipper of some kind. But that's going to lead into today's video, basically talking about why are habits so hard to break. Because the habit that I have is the one that comes to my mind very quickly when I think about habits. I mean, I've had other habits over the years, but they've been much easier to break than biting my nails. But the first question you have to ask yourself is your habit hurting your life more than helping it? Because it can vary on what kind of habit you're maybe wanting to break, or if that habit is even a benefit or a detriment. Because there's a lot of good habits out there, reminding yourself to brush your teeth every morning, or waking up at a certain time so you're not late for work, or just learning to remember to write things down that you keep forgetting. Like there's good habits out there. Not all of them are bad, but you have to ask yourself that question: if this habit is hurting your life more than it's actually helping it. And then it leads into the next question of, I guess, how long does it take to break this habit? Which there's many studies. The most common one that I've seen as a child, and even still to this day, is the 21 days or 3 weeks rule, which a lot of studies have been coming out that have said that now it might actually take even longer depending on how complex the habit is or how long it's been, which honestly makes sense why, again, tying back to the biting nails thing, it's taken so long and it's been hard to break it because I've been doing it for a good chunk of my life. So on average, it can take 18 days to even 254 days, according to an article from Calm.com that I'm reading. So it varies on the complexity of the habit, but that's where it comes into play of figuring out, little tidbits on how to slowly but surely break it over time, because it will take time, and you got to be consistent with it. You got to just keep trying over and over until you sort of wake up one day and realize that you stop doing it. Like, for example, say you have a hard time not sucking your thumb. Eventually you'll wake up one day and realize, I only sucked my thumb once or twice today. And then eventually I didn't suck my thumb for 1 day, then 2 days, 3 days, and then eventually it just finally goes away. Well, more so makes a new habit of not doing it, because technically by you breaking an old habit, you're creating a new one to not go back to the old habit. There's a little habit inception thing there to screw with your mind. But that's what it comes down to, is consistency, which is really a lot of things in life, is just being consistent. And it will eventually pay off for you in the long run. The Calm article also talks about there's a sort of 7-step approach to breaking a habit. And the steps include identifying the triggers, setting clear goals, engaging in mindfulness activities, having a replacement strategy, applying gradual reduction, seeking social support, practicing meditation, and creating a reward system. Which these steps are basically just different ways to help address the habit that you might have. And, there's obviously different strategies to work with different habits, and ultimately there's no, one size fits all sort of method to break a habit. And I wish I could provide that, but unfortunately I don't have that. But I think these 7 steps do kind of help break it down. Like, let's again use my biting my fingernails example as a way to take a look at these steps. Like, the identifying triggers, me being anxious, which leads to me biting my fingernails sometimes. You know, setting clear goals. I'm going to try not to bite my fingernails, you know, X amount of times today, and carry around a nail clipper or toenail clipper, whichever one could clip my nails instead of me biting it. And then engaging in mindfulness activities, basically keeping your mind off of thinking about doing it. And then having a replacement strategy. I don't think this habit really has a replacement strategy except just don't do it. And then applying gradual reduction. Again, talking about identifying those moments where you're not doing it nearly as much compared to previous days. Seeking social support, you know, asking around, seeing if people know certain things or certain cues or triggers to help them break a similar habit. Maybe like, you know, sucking their thumb or snapping their fingers a lot, that kind of thing. Practicing meditation. I mean, hey, when it comes to meditating, there's quite a few studies out there that prove it is very effective in helping you clear your mind, break down your problems, and think about what you're going to do next. This meditation does wonders. You know, sometimes even just doing it for like 15 minutes of just in complete silence can really help. The last step, creating a reward system. I mean, in the case of biting your fingernails, I don't know what would be a good reward for that. I want to say maybe getting yourself like a small treat. I don't know, an ice cream when you hit that milestone of not, you know, biting your nails for one whole day. That's the only thing I can think of when it comes to a good reward system. Otherwise, it really can vary depending, again, on the habits, on what it is. But, you know, a little reward here and there doesn't really hurt in giving some positive reinforcement and feedback to yourself. Because really, it doesn't hurt at all to treat yourself if you're doing a good job. But the last advice I could give is don't give up. You know, just keep doing it. Even if you falter some days, just keep going. You know, whatever you do, do not quit or give up just because you failed once. I mean, I don't know how the process works for people that are drug addicts that go to rehab, but I have heard from people that there were days that they did relapse and they had a good system to get back on track. But, you know, those things happen. Obviously, an extreme example to, you know, biting your fingernails in the case of this story, but still, it's just an idea to think that, like, if someone who's going through rehab or drug or substance abuse, if they can come back after, you know, relapsing that way, then even you can if you're just trying to break a habit that is as simple as not just biting your fingernails, sucking your thumb, snapping your fingers, pacing too much, maybe even talking to yourself too much, which that might be another habit I might need to address, but goes back to the original question I asked. Does it hurt your life more than help it? I mean, talking to myself helps me think. It just makes me look weird, but I've lived long enough to know I don't give a shit what anybody says about, you know, some of the weird stuff I do. It's not hurting anybody. And honestly, I'm a walking anti-societal norm anyway, which that's a whole video in of itself I could talk about, but that's all I'm going to leave for this video. You know, don't give up on breaking those habits. Remember that 8-step plan I provided, and you should be well on your way to breaking any habit that you might have that is hurting your life. So anyway, if you like this video, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more from me. Really appreciate the comments and feedback I've been getting, and I'm growing in my subscriber count and even my views. My Warframe video has been really exploding in popularity, and I'm really grateful for that, because it makes me wonder if I want to maybe talk more about Warframe or even have some more Warframe footage in the background. So anyway, I'll see you guys Saturday.